Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here. And when people think of quality cannabis, especially medical, they think of British Columbia, Canada. Well, we are here in the mountains of beautiful British Columbia to check out an incredible private operation run by an incredibly hardworking entrepreneur. So let's check it out.
I'm Chad Jackett from Liberty Farms and Grassroots Medicinals and the Cannabis Growers of Canada.
So can you show us a bit of your operation here?
Yeah, sure, for sure. So I got a mixed bag of stuff over here. A lot of it's already been plucked out. We're a little bit late in the season now, but we had pumpkins and squash, tomatoes.
How important is self-sustainability to you?
Extremely important. I think it should be important to everybody.
So what do we got here?
So in here we have basically some research and development stuff. It's all kinds of different strains that I've just got in a little tiny greenhouse here that I'm testing for the conditions in British Columbia, basically just seeing what will actually finish in our weather and what I'll get out of them and the differences from growing them inside or outside. And a lot of strains, you'll try them inside and they won't actually finish in the BC conditions or in Canadian conditions, really. We have a pretty short season compared to other places, and a lot of the time you just don't make it. So it's all experimental, and every year that goes by you learn something new and you discover new strains that might be suitable for the environment, and it's a lot of fun.
Quality-wise, what's the quality of the cannabis you have here compared to, say, government pot?
You know what? Here it's a lot better cannabis, and grown outside cannabis isn't the most high-end cannabis because it's more, suitable. It's more susceptible rather to the environment, and there's bugs on it and all kinds of different things, but there's absolutely zero pesticides that's used here whatsoever. So on that case, then it's extremely superior to LP products. But I tend to prefer most of the time an indoor grown product myself, because it's I don't know why, to be honest with you. It's not always. Some of the plants that are grown outside I really like and I enjoy it, but you tend to be able to just tend to your plants a lot better, give it the exact environment that it wants. The buds are just a little softer almost. The conditions outside, they harden up a little bit more. I think they're a lot stronger, and I'm doing some tests on that and trying to figure some of that stuff out. But it's kind of funny because some plants grow better and will actually produce more trichome outside than they do inside, and sometimes it's vice versa. So it's one of these things that you just never know, right?
Well, you are more of an individualist. You're trying to get these things done yourself as a businessman. How do you face off against, this so-called legalization that we're seeing under Justin Trudeau?
For two reasons that I was very, very clear about. One, to better protect our kids from the easy access they have right now to marijuana. And two, to remove the criminal elements that we're profiting from marijuana. And we believe that a properly regulated, controlled system will achieve both of those measures. Well, we haven't brought in that properly regulated, controlled system because it's important that we do it right in order to achieve those two specific goals. And until such a moment as we have brought in that system, the current prohibition stands.
Well, I saw that coming a long time ago, the monopolization of the market from these crony capitalists or socialists or whatever you want to call them. They're trying to really monopolize everything in the world. They're trying to get more industry, more and more industry into fewer hands. And with the cannabis industry, of course, it's not going to be any different. So we really need to be loud right now. We need people to stand with us. The Cannabis Growers of Canada is an organization that I put together back in 2014, and it's been running ever since. And we're really trying to get as strong as we can and as loud as we can, especially this year because it's really a crucial year. So as many people as we can get on board to help us out to get the real true, I hate to even call it legalization, but to actually get rid of prohibition and be able to use this plant freely as it should be used. That's what we need. We need that army. We need those people that are willing to put their guts on the line and their heart and soul on the line and stand with us. It's not an easy fight. I never know what's going to happen to me in this, and so being a faithful man, I just try to put my faith where it belongs and not fear the other side. And
it's interesting that it's always about what benefits the government, right? So it's so-called an end of prohibition when in reality we're seeing massive prison sentences that could be lined up for people that don't follow the exact line of the government. And you went into something that's really core, that is the monopolization of the markets, because of course that's going to benefit government when you go under the guise of stopping big monopolies, which the left talks about all the time, but then pushes this, implementation by government regulators and extortion taxation in order to monopolize the market in the favor of the government. So why is it bad for there to be private monopolies, but it's totally fine for government without any demand of individuals to have this massive monopoly?
So what are your thoughts on the proposed so-called legalization under Justin Trudeau coming down the pipe for Canadians soon?
Well, plain and simple, I think that the legalization in Canada is nothing short of a lie. Just look at the word legalization. It's basically the government took a right away from you and they're giving it back at a price, and that price is taxation, regulation, government monopolization, and there's no end to prohibition here. What needs to end is the prohibition, but what we have here is incredible. We have, for example, the distribution of budding flowers, cannabis plants. You can end up in prison for up to 14 years. Mm-hmm. That isn't an end to prohibition. That isn't true legalization. What we're seeing today is just Trudeau trying to get future voters, because he promised us time and time again, we're going to legalize it on this date, this date, this date, and now it's coming up right before the election in 2018. Can you go into what you've been up against?
I mean, we're up against everything. We're up against all of our stolen tax dollars, being used as propaganda against us. We're up against, the citizens out there that have sucked in a lot of the propaganda and really don't understand this plant the way they should. We're up against a ton, and it is all because of government propaganda and lies, and we're up against a ton right now. You see the propaganda coming after us that we should all be shut down and we're all terrible, dirty people, and not doing our lab testing and all this stuff, which is a lie in most parts. I mean, they're targeting certain cities that they know are a little bit behind on the draw. BC is far ahead of a lot of other provinces, and that's why I think they've been targeting Ontario and different areas where they're really bringing in this legalization, where they're sort of monopolizing, and they're trying to put the fire out in this direction where if we lit the fire from BC and we actually got the form of true legalization that we all want here, we could spread that wildfire across the country that way. That's why I truly think that they're doing this whole LCBO stuff and all that. They don't really have a culture of growing cannabis in all the other provinces. No offense to them. They have some, but it's not like BC, BC is known all around the world. It's BC bud, there's a massive culture there. And for them to attack that one first, I think there'd be a loud noise. And I mean, there has been a loud noise. And we're going to be up against a ton more. I have no idea what my future holds here. All I know is I have patients that count on me. I can't sit back and let them use LP poisoned cannabis, organograms, pesticide laden crap. And so for myself, I have to just continue to do what I'm doing. I have to continue to do the research and development that I'm doing. I'm one of the only people in the country that I know of that actually has Charlotte's Web, and it's because of a lot of this testing that I've been doing outside and figuring things out. There's so many different strains for different people, and for any of the knowledge of what's been going on out here to be pushed aside, that's been going on out here for the last 20 years to be pushed aside and just replaced with just this corporate socialist driven, it's really annoying that they've gotten so much tax dollars handed to them too. Yeah. A lot of them have gotten subsidies. You talk about, what we're up against with the government. They've gotten subsidies to the tune of, 44 million, I think it was, with one of them that I can think of right off the top of my head. They're getting our money given to them left, right, and center, and then they're turning around and handing that money back to the government, I guess, for lobbying. It's quite a circle that they have going on here. So I don't know.
Well, what do you say to people like in the cannabis community that are really supportive of this legalization push by Justin Trudeau? Like, what's your message to these people?
Well, you've been fooled. You've been had. It's all bull. And I pardon my French. I don't mean to swear, but it's definitely not legalization. It's never was legalization. You have to have faith in God and in yourselves, and you have to realize that the government only does these things. This legalization that's coming in from the Liberal government is a legalization that they know that they have to be the head of. Otherwise, the people will be the ones bringing it in. So when the people are, this groundswell effect happens, and the people, make enough noise and realize, that a plant, what they've done is the knowledge has really just come to light. People have realized how beneficial this plant is, and what all the lies that the government's been saying. So the internet is a funny thing. It works two ways. We use it to acquire information about things like cannabis and different things and things going around the world. But the government also does that to acquire information about what we're doing and what the movements that are going on within us and what we're starting to understand. And so they're watching us on the internet, and they're figuring out that, hey, these guys are realizing that cannabis is really beneficial, and they're sharing this knowledge back and forth. Well, now we have to put our head on that movement and act as if, hey, the government's here and we were your saviors all along, and we're here to bring you legalized cannabis and steal the movement, and then give you some terrible washed out, big box, grayed out, monopolized system where you're not even allowed. It's actually worse than it was under prohibition. So it's brutal, man. And I really just hope that the Canadian people really rise up and wake up to all this stuff, because truly, if you can grow a plant in your backyard and you don't have to, get hooked on pharmaceutical drugs, that's a huge thing. Pharmaceutical drugs are a terrible thing. I know, because I was on a lot of them myself, and it's not an easy thing to get off of. You don't even realize that you're actually going down the path of being addicted to something, because you just think you're taking something to get out of pain, and my doctor told me that, and you go down this pathway. Before you know it, you've lost yourself. And I'm telling you, there's so many people that are out there that are going down this pathway, and if they could just grow a plant, and just the growing of the plant is medicinal itself, I'll tell you that right now too. But if they can just grow a plant that actually helps 80% of the things that pharmaceutical drugs are actually helping them with, then I think that's super beneficial to people, and I think it's not very beneficial to the powers that be in the pharmaceutical industries and those that want to control us and want to benefit from our suffering.
Absolutely. People shouldn't settle for less. They should always settle for nothing less than freedom, and I think that's a great way to end it off. But Chad, I wanted to kind of go quickly into the farm to table kind of aspect. So what does it take to get from here on the farm to the dispensary to the table?
Okay, so it's a lot. So there's a lot of trimmers. Everything here on the farm is hand trimmed. Nothing here sees a machine. We don't even have any machines on the property. Even the smallest of small buds gets trimmed off with a pair of scissors. And from there, you've got to dry your cannabis. You You have to cure your cannabis, and then you have to package your cannabis and take your cannabis to wherever it needs to go. And yeah, it's and you have to get through the gauntlet of, highway robbers that call themselves the police agency, that are set up all over the place, and especially since this legalization thing happened. I've noticed here in BC and especially in the country, there's just roadblocks everywhere. It's getting worse and worse, and they're claiming they're looking for impaired drivers or whatever, but they're all sniffing and going, "Oh, I smell cannabis," even if they don't smell cannabis. So I also say to everybody out there, they're not professionals with their nose. They don't have a certification of sniff, and do not just allow them to come and search your car just because they say they smell something, because it's arbitrary, and don't allow searches. So,
well, how many dispensaries sell your product?
My product, it's hard to say. There's quite a few dispensaries out there.
We are joined by Molly Snyder, who is here at Grassroots Medicinal in Squamish, British Columbia. Can you go into Grassroots Medicinal, how important this business is for the customers that come in, and for the free market, and your experience working here?
Sure, great. So this place pretty much saved my life. I've worked retail my whole life, but my mom asked me when I was in high school graduating, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I said, "I want to grow cannabis." And she said, "You need to find something else to do because that's illegal." Someone like me, I don't think I'd want to be doing anything else. I feel like I've been given the blessed dream of living your dream, and so for just the workers aspect of it, it's a great job. It's, for a lot of people, this is their life. Cannabis is their life. So being able to actually just talk about something you're passionate about, sell a product that you're passionate about, and it's a good thing for humanity, it's life-changing. And then for the customers, they have two choices. They come to someone like us, or they buy it off the internet from the government. It's been radiated. You don't know what it is. They don't let you smell it or touch it or anything before you buy it. And if you don't like what you got, can't return it.
Have you seen any kind of attacks from the government at Grassroots Medicinal? Is there some kind of effort to shut you guys down?
So far, I think because of the municipality here in Squamish, we've been very lucky. So they want us here, the community wants us here, and we felt nothing but love. But at the same time, we do have that fear, that the federal government could come in and bother us. But I honestly think at this point we haven't caused the community any problems, and if anything, most of the community is very excited that we're here. And from what I've been seeing from the patients themselves, the life change there. I've got a lady who now doesn't have to drive all over. She lives right across the road, just comes over with her little dog and then goes home. It's nice and safe for her, and there's no hassles.
Like what you see here at WAM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so overwhelmingly demonetized and censored by YouTube as the Anti-Defamation League comes in and flags all of our content as hate speech. You can also find me at Josh Sigurdson at steemit.com. That's steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid in the upvote of your post via Steem, the cryptocurrency. You can also find our Bitcoin address in the description and the comments below, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And don't forget to come on down to Anarchapulco in Acapulco, Mexico in February, one of the best events of the year, and you can save money on your tickets by typing in promo code WAM. That's WAM. We'll leave the link below for you, and until next time, don't forget to subscribe. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.